Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Group podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back. And today we are going to take a look at a new Netflix series, and it is
Mm-hmm.
called Three Body Problem. And again, this is a Netflix series. It's 8 episodes. Right now, I guess we
Mm-hmm.
have like over 15,000 reviews. IMDb is giving it a 7.7. Man, this series right here. You were like, you told me about it. You were like, check it out. I checked the
Yeah.
I checked the trailer out, and then I started
Mm-hmm.
watching it, and I kept watching it, and I kept watching it. Next thing you know, it was like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I was like, I gotta
Yeah,
finish
it's
it.
the
I'm
same
into
thing.
it.
The same thing to me. It's the exact same thing happened to me.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
like,
This is
I'll watch a couple and then I'll go to sleep. No, I just the whole night. I was like, just one more.
yeah, yeah,
Get into
yes.
this.
What you think about this series, man?
Dude, I loved it. I thought this was a great series. And
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, the interesting about it is because the book was written by this Chinese guy. And so uh the, all the characters and everything that's going on is happening in China in the book. But I think they chose London because like it's an international city, and so you can fit other people from other cultures in there, and it's not gonna be jarring. It is how you expect it to be,
Mm-hmm.
and like the overall story is amazing.
Yeah.
And I went instantly. I was in Wikipedia while the show's going on. I'm trying to get more information about what's going on about the books,
Mm-hmm.
and what this overall story is. And I was like, oh hell yeah, I got to finish this story. I got to get to the end of this tonight. Like,
I
it's a great premise,
I threw it into
and
AI, and I was like, what is this?
yeah,
And I got all the information about it because I was like, because a lot of times the Japanese and the Koreans, they're really good at like projecting
Mhm.
what may happen in the future with a lot of these anime shows and just a lot of their
Yeah,
movies and stuff, right? But this is the Chinese. This is it first
it's
came
a
out like you
hundred
said.
percent
Yeah,
all
this is Chinese,
Chinese.
and I'm like, wow, they I'm like, this is pretty interesting. You want to give a brief overview about what it is, and then we can just chit chat about
Yeah,
what we
yeah.
think about it.
So basically, this is a three-part book about we have like all these satellites all around the world, and we're sending a bunch of series of messages to space, hoping that we get a reply from an alien species. And so, in the book in 1960 something, this lady who was like basically a prisoner of the revolution and the Mao revolution in China, she's uh she's basically a prisoner and she's working at this research facility on top of this base, and they they get a message, and the message is like, "Hey, we received your message. Please do not respond. We're a hostile alien species, and if you respond, we're gonna come down and see you.
Hmm.
Don't respond." It says don't respond like all throughout the message, and so she's going through it right now as being a hostage and being tortured and just going through all a miserable experience, and so she's done with Earth at the time when this message happens. Like if this happened 10 years later or 10 years before, she probably would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, let me turn this computer off real quick.
Right.
But she's going through it. And so she responds and she's like, hey, if you come down here, I'll help you take over Earth. Like, show up, let's go.
Dumb.
And so this is the premise is about how Earth deals with this problem. There's the alien species that's coming here in 400 years, and because it's such a long time period, it's a difficult problem because we have to prepare our great grandchildren to get ready for this, rather than this is the thing that we could deal with on our lifetime. We just got to get some bombs or whatever. Like, we got to build some spaceships right now, and then we'll hope for the best. We got to wait for our great grandkids to deal with this thing. And so we have to set them up on a path, a golden path, if you will, if you know Dune, to be prepared for when these suckers show up,
Hmm.
and we can deal with them then. And so like it's asking a lot of like philosophical questions about life, and what it means to be what's human, what it means to deal with this kind of situation, and why aliens would want to deal with us in the first place. What's so special about Earth? Like, it's asking a lot of really good questions. So
Yeah, it
that's the
really
basic
is.
premise of the book and the TV show.
Yeah, this is one of those shows that does ask a lot of questions. Let me turn that off.
Mm-hmm.
That does ask a lot of questions, and the technology in this show is pretty dope. The AI is pretty dope. The I don't know if they're gonna call. I don't know if we should call this when they put on the mask or the helmets or whatever. And the helmets look
Yeah,
dope as anything, right?
yeah,
And then
yeah.
and
The
before I even go on,
Sophons.
I know, right? The Sophons are crazy, right? There are a couple flaws in this joint that I'm gonna get to, right? But you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
when they put on those helmets and they went into this virtual reality, right?
Mm.
Talk about a metaverse, or is that a metaverse, or is that
Yes,
an omniverse? You know, I remember
that is the ultimate metaverse right
yeah, so it's
there.
just like, you know, when you look at something like this, it's just like they put on the joints, they put on the helmets, and then they went into this
Mhm.
like virtual reality, this metaverse. I don't need, it's not, metaverse isn't even a correct word for it, right? But
Yeah.
you know,
So,
when you think about like all this chit chat about the metaverse and what it looks like now, right? And then you look at
yeah.
this movie and you people are putting on these, just call them VR headsets. Let's just call them that, right?
Yeah, it's basically because, yeah, it
Mhm.
just takes over your brain.
Right, you know, and then they go into this beautiful, I mean, like, dude, the joint is real. You know, so
Yeah.
when I'm looking at what we're trying to do with the metaverse, I'm just like, man, we are so, I mean, we look like cartoon characters, you know?
It's funny, Wade is a character who works for the government, and he's jaded. He's seen everything already.
Hmm.
And he put that helmet on and he's like, "Oh my god, like yo, we are behind." It really occurred to him like, "Yo, we are way behind.
Yeah.
This thing exists right now? Like what in the hell?"
Yeah.
It blew his mind.
The thought process of, okay, how are we going to conquer this world? First of all,
Mhm.
we need to do a few things. First, let's take away their science. And then let's
Yes, take
take
out all
away
the
their
physicists.
technology, right? You know, and it's just
Yeah.
like, wow, okay, so this is how, you know, sort
Mhm.
of dictators do things. They'll come in, they'll take your literature away, they'll take your rights away, the whole
Yeah.
nine. So this like
Mhm.
alien race who's far more advanced, they're like, let's take their science away. So by the time we
We
get
took
there in 400 years, they're not going to have anything to defeat us with.
Yeah, yeah, they took the few because basically they did the math on it. They were like, how fast you guys are integrating things. Like we went from iPhone
Yep.
nothing
Hmm.
up into iPhone 15, which is a supercomputer compared to what it was before.
Right.
And think how short was that? It's only a couple of years,
Really, it
right?
was. Hmm.
What were they gonna be 30 years from now? What were they gonna be 100 years from now? So they did the math on that, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta stop this. These guys are they're doubling and quadrupling. Like it's what's the is it what's the law for computers that the about the CPU that we're gonna double in time every 2 years or something like that every year. There's a law for it. I cannot remember it. I mean, I've been so out of being computers and stuff like that, but like there's a
Hmm.
law. I can't remember. It's like Murphy's law or something like that. There's a law about how fast a computer is going to double in power after a year or 2 years.
Mm.
And we've seen that with the M1 chip. When that came out, that put everything x86 to sleep. That
Done.
basically was like, "Yo, this is garbage."
Bye bye,
Right?
Intel.
Yeah, Intel was done for after that. Like,
Hmm.
but we've seen an upgrade in power for computers and before our very eyes, and it's only going to get better as the millimeters it gets smaller, and like this there's a bunch of stuff, like there's factors of how much power can be put on this little tiny chip, and so we're seeing it in our very eyes. So 100 years from now, what is that going to look like?
Yeah.
Like I can't even fathom it. To be honest, I I'm assuming flying cars. Like I hope by then we got flying cars. Like
I mean, they're
there's
already in
nothing
the
stopping
works,
us.
you know. I mean, Honda's doing test pilots on them now. You know what's really interesting about this is like, so when they were
Yeah.
trying to think of how they will maybe send a probe, right? And
Mhm,
the whole
mhm.
probe thing was like, wow, what they did with the
That's a crazy idea for a probe to
yeah,
get there fast enough.
right. But right now, if you look at we watch a lot of shows, a lot of
Mhm,
movies where the world is about to be destroyed by some sort of an alien race. And the
mhm.
only thing we have to throw at it all the time are nuclear
Nukes.
weapons,
It's
you know?
nukes. That's it.
So,
Yeah.
what's interesting about this is they knew they were talking to an AI that was in this, sort of like virtual reality, this metaverse or the
Mhm,
omniverse, right? Um,
mhm,
but as they were thinking about a solution to either communicate with the alien at some point, like sending a probe or whatever, they never thought about
mhm.
using AI. They never thought about that. They were using just like
Yeah, that's
physics and all
interesting.
this other stuff, right? And I'm just like, that's so weird that they knew that an AI was talking to them, but they did
Mhm.
not use
Never thought
AI
they
to
could make their own
deploy.
AI.
Right,
Well, I think
exactly.
too, they're probably like trying to be practical because they're they know that these guys have a way stronger computer. And so if they make an AI, it will probably take it over. Because remember the CERNs? They had all of these CERNs all around the world, and the AI was wrecking the computers inside the CERN. So I think that was probably a factor that they want to go AI right now until they can figure out how to stop these aliens from getting into it. Because that's a huge problem.
Well, I mean, see, that's what I mean. This is AI. So you basically set it up to do something and then it will
Mhm.
learn based on
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
experience, right? So
That's
it's just
true.
like,
That is
yeah,
true. That's a good
it will
point.
learn based on experience. Like AI, we need, okay, let's put AI on
Mhm.
one of these rockets, right? And then say, this is what
Mhm.
we need to do because they were basically, what was it called? It was called the
Step ladder.
yeah, the staircase project. That's what it was
Yeah,
called,
yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah. Staircase. Yeah, yeah.
Staircase project. And I'm like, okay, they shot nukes into the atmosphere, into space
Mhm.
4 days before they launched the probe. And the way they launched the probe with like, okay, we know these aliens are way far more advanced than us. We can't send a
Mhm.
person.
Yeah, they said a brain because the
Yo,
problem was they didn't have enough nukes. They only got
right,
300. They needed
right.
1,000. Yeah.
And that's the other thing. You mean to tell me? I mean, like I read somewhere where, like, just in these 3 or 4 states in America, there are over 450, like nukes, right?
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
just like, right, and it's just like, if this is a world problem, you mean who else gave us nukes? Why can't we have 1,000 nukes? The Russians didn't give us nukes. The
Yeah.
Indians, the Chinese. This is a world problem. This thing is coming to destroy the world, and you mean to tell me that they only were able to come up with 300 nukes? That's
Yeah.
one. That's a
Well,
flaw
because
right
other
there.
problem too
Hmm.
is that they're not showing up here until 400 years from now. So, a lot of the problems with the countries in the world, they're like, we need this for later. Like, you guys can't have this. This is just an idea. This stupid idea. I
Hmm.
it, you know how the bureaucrat stuff take over, and you're like, yeah, I need 400. They're like, I'll give you two. Like that's that you still got all that stuff going on because like this is all a brand. How long have they known about this problem? It's like a couple months, maybe.
Hmm.
I don't think it's been that long since they figured out what's going on. So there, a lot of this stuff is just convenience for writing
Yeah.
because it's writing the book, and the book was written like 20 years ago. So I don't think AI was that heavy back then. But they are talking about present day, so I guess that you got to do basics of what's possible. And like, was it 1920? No, 2000.
Yeah.
You got to do basics because they had AOL back then for computers, like for internet, dial up. He didn't know about like, we're gonna get iPhone 14 soon. Like they didn't know about that yet when
you
he
know,
wrote this book. So
it's crazy,
yeah, you got
man.
it's the ideas that you have, like being a sci-fi writer and thinking this far ahead about what you're gonna be able to do and what's possible. That's got to be rough. You
Yeah.
gotta think about like writing a Dune book or Star Wars or whatever. Like what's possible 100 years from now? It's insane. Like in 1970 something when I think Dune was written in 1960. So
Yeah,
like,
something
how do
like
you
that,
get
right?
ideas about, yeah, we're gonna have a helicopters, like, like whatever. Like,
Mhm.
there's a lot of stuff that I think they did have helicopters in 1960. But I'm
Yeah,
just
we
saying, like,
did.
yeah, the ideas about what's possible and what you can do, because you're there. I think Dune was folding space in 1960. Like, I think he invented that idea, or he came up with the idea before the scientists did, about how are you going to move around space with like a giant spaceship with hundreds of thousands of people on board. You got
Yeah.
to fold space. You're not pushing that through anything.
So we're
you know.
going it's almost like Star Trek where it's Star Trek where they always talk about the prime directive, don't get involved,
Yeah,
let a
yeah,
race,
yeah, yeah.
find their own way, something else that was really interesting about this is okay, this is a race far more superior than the American race, right?
Hmm.
The world race, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and they had all this access, right? They saw everything. I mean, they saw everything. They heard
Hmm.
everything. They saw everything, right? But they were killing humans, right? They didn't like
Yeah.
go in and like uh, trigger like some of these compute. I know they were messing around with the particle beams and everything, right? But why didn't they shut
Mhm.
down like complete server farms and stuff like that?
That's the thing. The book was written 20 years ago. I don't think they really had server farms like that back then.
Yeah,
So
but you
like, I
know
think they've
what?
taken a lot of stuff. Like, I guess the writers of the show should have added some of this technology from today into this thing better. Because like, I think they're following just exactly what happened in the book. But
Mhm.
like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that. Oh, other thing too. Like, this happening in China like 20 years ago. So I don't like the as far as the internet and stuff like that. It wasn't strong back then.
Right,
Like, what
but
what kind of internet did they have in China back in 20 years
right,
ago?
but they
This
are
must be
like with these writers and directors and everything, they do add a bit of additional content just to make it
hard.
up to date, right? Now,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But in some other things too, it's just like, okay, you mean to tell me this
you're
alien
right. This
species,
stuff is missing that should be
it
there
should be
based
there.
on
You know what I'm
today.
saying? And I'm not like knocking this because I think for me this is probably one of the like best shows I've seen in a really long time, a
Yeah,
really
yeah,
long
yeah.
time. I'm talking about this is when I started watching this show, this is like even the scientific stuff that they're trying to do. It's,
Hmm.
it's high level, right? But there's like a
Yeah.
level of highbrow like sci-fi about this show that you generally don't see in a lot of high in
Hmm.
sci-fi shows or movies, right? And I'm just like, okay, wow, this is pretty interesting right here. I think
Hmm.
one of the dopest things about this movie was that
Hmm.
nanotechnology, dude.
Yeah, the folding space. That's crazy, man.
No, no, no,
That
no,
is
no, no. The
crazy.
nanotechnology that Augie had created from the
Oh,
nanotechnology.
oh, the yeah, the lines. Yeah,
The
yeah,
splitting. Yes, the splitting.
yeah, yeah,
So when that ship
yeah.
came through the Panama Canal, dude,
Ooh, that was rough, man.
that technology, I was like, whoa. See, that's what I'm talking about. You mean to tell
Mm,
me, so and this is when I talk about flaws, right?
mm,
20 years ago, you created that nanotechnology, right?
mm,
And
yeah,
or maybe you didn't. Maybe you just added that was an addition to like the show you created, right? But you didn't add AI. You
yeah.
didn't add the
The
AI
AI things.
element, you
AI
know?
should be because you have AI in the show.
Yeah.
Like the Sophons is AI,
Yeah.
but you didn't have humans using AI. I would get the other thing too. Like, how fast has AI grown in society today? Like, I think last
There
year, I
mhm.
don't think anybody was really talking about AI the way they are right now. I don't remember it. Like, if it was like it was like beta testing. But do you remember AI being talked about this much?
I can say this. I can't say
Yeah, based on
I
listen, I
can't,
know, I
right.
because I
Just
know,
based
I
on
know why.
places I've worked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
yeah, I know
dude,
why you can't be
AI's been
clear
here
about
for
this.
like decades. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
been
yeah,
here for
yeah.
decades. The
But I'm
thing,
talking about for the masses.
right? The speed at which AI is moving, right?
Mm,
If you remember, like maybe 5 or even 7 years ago, they were talking
mm,
about how they can take drones. This is when they just had small drones, baby drones, like
mm,
the military industrial complex. All the vendors were building these drones, and they were like, "How can we get a
mm.
thousand drones to speak to each other?" They were thinking that AI can do this, right? And now AI
Yeah,
is
yeah,
doing it,
yeah.
right? So AI has
Easily.
been here, right? You know what I'm saying? But that
Yeah.
nanotechnology, dude, I mean, that's far beyond. See, this show,
Mm,
the writing on the show was excellent. I mean, I
mm.
loved listen, I love the walking and talking in this show.
Yeah, yeah, it was good.
I
It
love the
wasn't. It
walking. If you're
wasn't
gonna give me
annoying.
walking and talking, give me that type of walking and talking. There was some times
Mm,
in some episodes where they were just pontificating on how they should, you know, reach or at least communicate with this alien. And the weird thing, again, the crazy thing is like, okay, we only have 300 nukes, so we can't have a heavy, we can't
mm.
have a heavy rocket, so we can't put a whole body in a rocket.
Yeah, yeah. Like they did the math on how much they could put inside the
Pretty
rocket with
dope, right?
spices,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was smart. The dialogue was smart. And the funny thing is that the writers who did this show did Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones, the first half of it was amazing
Yeah.
because they had something to work off of. They were working off of the books, and so they had really good the dialogue they could put into the show because of the books were all finished. And so because this entire thing is done, the books are finished. These three books, I'm betting highly that these guys are going to stick the landing because they're capable of following books.
Yeah.
If you got a thing here, a guideline, this is what it's
Hmm.
going to be. These guys will knock this thing out the park.
Yeah.
But like Game of Thrones, this guy was still in his underwear trying to figure out what to do for the next book by the time they got there for season 8, whatever. And so like everything fell off the wheels fell off the bus. But like they have really solid dialogue and interesting premise and ideas here
Hmm.
because the stuff is already done for them. The
Dude,
math is done. They
it's
just got to write this thing into a TV show. Done and done.
this is man, like I said, this is I started watching and I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch a couple episodes. I couldn't put it down,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
I couldn't
yeah.
put it down. I was just like, wow, this is completely amazing. But man, I'm going back to the nanotech because the way it just like, split that
That
ship in
thing
half.
split through that boat, and you were watching like it's not working, and you're just wait, and it just started cutting through it. I was like,
She said it's
oh, this is
working. She said it's working.
crazy. Yeah, yeah,
so
that's crazy.
so again,
That was an interesting
that
scene.
was some high end technology, but we don't have AI. But that's okay, because again, everything else that the show encompassed was like it was just ridiculous. I mean,
It was really good,
the
and the
friendships.
cultures that they blended together because
Oh
like
yes,
you're
yes.
telling this insane story from Mao,
Hmm.
1960 something in China. Is it Mao? I think it's Mao.
Yeah, the Ming.
I
No, no. Was it Mao or the Ming Dynasty?
No,
I'm not sure.
Ming's way before that.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so
whatever.
Mao.
Like
Hmm.
they're telling a story
Hmm.
from 1960 something in China
Yeah.
that's compelling as hell, and you feel sorry for her, and because you're thinking about this on if this is in your life right now, and you would be like, to me personally, I'll be like, pull that computer cord out, don't you dare talk to them. They said don't talk to them, but like you feel sorry for this lady, everything that she's gone through with her father and her mother selling her father out on stage and like being basically thrown into like this concentration camp.
Hmm.
And you gotta be working there and digging up trees, whatever, just ruining the environment. So you're watching all this stuff, and then you get a text message from some aliens saying, "We come here to destroy this place, take over." And after being in jail, like F it, come on down.
Yep.
Let's see what happens. These guys don't deserve to be in charge right now. And
Yeah.
it's like you got to think about being in that area in that time and going through all this hardship. you kind of you sympathize with why she did it. Like it makes sense. And that's hard to pull off considering how we feel about our stuff because that's another premise about the show is that when they put these helmets on and they're doing these trials, which is basically a test to figure out, who can be invited to be part of this secret society that's going to be for the aliens. They're they're doing tests to see who sympathizes with the aliens' plight
Right.
about the three body problem with
Mm-hmm.
the three sons.
Yeah.
And like there's certain types of people that are gonna to sympathize with the aliens about why it's okay for them to come down here and take over. There's certain type of person would be like, you know what, it's good. There's certain people like what's the guy that had the snack thing? I forgot his name.
Oh,
I forgot his name. He's in Game of
um,
Thrones.
Jack, the
It's
guy,
Kennedy,
the
Jacob. I forget Jack.
the millionaire,
It's Jack.
the guy who
Yeah,
got
the
killed, right?
millionaire.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The point
Yeah.
is that like he has stuff to lose, so he was like, "Oh hell no! Like get out of here with this crowd! Like I'm supposed to sympathize with these aliens coming here and take over? Oh hell no!" He's like, "Get out of here!
Yeah. Jack
I got
Rooney.
a
His name
business."
was Jack
Yeah,
Rooney.
Rudy.
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
Yeah.
I got a business. I got like $40 million in the bank. Like, come on, man! Like I got things to lose right now.
You
Screw you
know,
guys!
they
Like,
had Aliza Gonzalez, man. She's
mhm.
a hottie right there. She's a baddie.
Yeah, you can't
Um,
deny that.
you know what I'm
But
saying?
like,
And they have
yeah,
some
yeah. But
good
I'm just thinking,
characters
like,
in
it's
here, man.
crazy.
This is like,
It.
man, the characters were dope. Everything was
Mm-hmm,
dope, man. I was just listen. I'm
mm-hmm.
I'm definitely watching this all over again. Definitely
Yeah,
watching
I'm
it
gonna
all
watch it
over.
again for
You
sure.
know, because I like to pick up on stuff that I may have missed, right? Something else really
Mm-hmm,
interesting about this. You know, the Santee or the Santai, right? Whatever they're called, right? They
mm-hmm,
basically said that we have the ability to show you what we want to show you, right?
mm-hmm.
So all
Yeah.
these people who were getting killed by Tatiana that they can only see because she didn't appear on cameras, right?
Mm-hmm.
That really reminds me of this Netflix show called Anon. Have you ever seen that? Anon.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and it was just like people like she was able to go in and kill people, but when they looked at like security video footage, they couldn't
Mm-hmm,
see her. So that was sort of like that as well. And I was just like, oh, okay, this is cool. But you know what? If I never read the books, which I did
mm-hmm.
not, and I saw this TV series or this series on Netflix, I'd be like, I'm all in. I'm all in
Yes. Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
because sometimes you can, even if you didn't read the book, sometimes we do this, right? So sometimes we can watch a movie or a series and say it's something off here, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's something off. I didn't feel that. I mean, there was some oddities there here and there, but you know what? The flow of it, the walking and talking, I'm okay with that. The character building, I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay with that. The different dynamics of different individuals, the army, the military, dude. I mean, they brought in the UN, and then the really
Yeah,
dope part is this here
yeah.
when they were like, yo, you know what? They brought in three people. All the like nations got together and they were
The
like,
wall facers.
yeah, the wall faces. They were like, yo, you know what? We want you to create a solution in your mind, right?
Don't say nothing. Don't write it down. Don't say nothing.
Right. But here's the thing though, right? Okay. Once you have that
Mm-hmm.
solution, what do you do with it? Can you
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you need a computer to like, figure it out, right?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, what the was is that they're trying to come up with ideas about what to do for the to solve this riddle, but you can't. You got to wait to the last second before you start telling people what to do.
Mhm.
And the idea is that because when we do stuff now, they're looking at it. They're watching this entire time.
Yeah,
They're
listening
coming
the
up with
whole
the good
nine.
ideas, the bad
Mhm.
guy ideas. You're writing everything down. Like they could see everything from top to bottom. So if you wait to the last second and then show your hand, they think that could give you an edge. Which I do think there is something to that idea of like if you wait to the last second, it kind of gives you an edge on what you reveal to your enemies, whatever. But like it's interesting that they had to come up with these simple things, like just keep it in your brain. Just wait. You can do whatever you want. You can ask for whatever information you want. Talk to whoever you want. Just relieve it in your brain. Don't say nothing. It's a cool concept.
Really
I think
is.
there were the wall faces came from like Buddhist monks that were like meditate looking at the wall. I think that's what they said. Like it's a cool premise for somebody who can see everything you're doing. So like stuff like this I'm interested in. Like interested in instantly. I'm like, okay, I'm on board. Like let's
Yeah.
go.
You know, some
This is
real
this is
some
gonna
high
cool.
end sci-fi stuff, not just this goofy stuff. You know, with just
Yeah.
aliens looking like bugs or something. You know, it's just like, but dude, I mean, like the virtual reality that they created. Wow,
Mm.
wow,
Is that
wow.
powered by the SoFi, like the supercomputers they got down here? Like, where's?
Yeah.
I
So
guess it must be. It has to be.
okay, and see, I think so, but that's one of the other flaws, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the super duper scientists, the super
Mm-hmm.
like geeky, you know, scientists, they had these
Mm-hmm.
helmets. They saw one, you know, like Jen got one from, you know, when old girl died, when Vera
So
died, right? Yeah,
yay, whatever her name is. Yeah,
right, exactly. So
her
you mean it
daughter.
right? So you mean to tell me these are super duper scientists, right? Oxford educated the
Mm-hmm.
whole nine, right? They get
Mm-hmm.
this thing, and the first thing they do is put it on their heads. You mean to tell me, as a scientist, you don't like take a look at it like, how does this work? Let me take it back to the lab. Let me like, you know, inspect this, see what's going on. They just immediately put
Yeah.
it on their heads. So I'm just like, that's again, I'm okay with that. But
Well,
you know, if you're like a,
yeah.
you know, it's a little flaw right there. It's just like because a scientist
To
wouldn't do that. Come on.
to me, Augie's response was my response.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I'm interested in this kind of stuff, but if I saw that, I'd be like, oh hell no, don't put that on anything.
Yeah.
Burn that thing in the stake, like throw it in the garbage. Don't
Yeah.
you know? Stop wearing it.
But
You know
but it was
what it is.
but it was really cool, man. That AI, like I said, like the virtual reality, like their metaverse or
Mm-hmm.
omniverse, whatever it is, like, dude, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, people who are making the metaverse, stop, look at this
You got
show.
work to do,
You
man.
got work to do. You got
You
work to
got
do.
work to do.
Because
Shoot.
what we're seeing right now, you know, on their like virtual reality, the whole nine, the levels, I mean, old boy kept getting
Mm-hmm.
killed. He was like, I like this. He was like, I like, you
I
know,
was like, it's not for you.
he was
You're
like,
not
yeah.
invited. Get out of here.
This is man, this is like really wow. This is, and I haven't seen anything really awesome in a really long time. Like the last thing I saw that was really awesome that I just kept watching and watching and watching was Foundation
Mm-hmm.
season 2 and Picard
Mm-hmm.
season 3. Now, you know,
Yeah, you got another show now.
yes, you know, I have another show, and also Discovery is coming back with the last season, and also Rebel
Mm-hmm.
Moon is coming out like part 2 on the
Yeah.
19th.
I think
So,
it's
you
next
know,
month it's coming
definitely
out.
looking into that, you know, the whole nine.
Yeah.
But yeah, man,
Mm-hmm.
this show right here, wow. Wow. Okay, listen. I do you want to rate this? Just, you know, just from what, you
Yeah.
know. Mhm.
For season one, I give it like an 8.5. Like it's
Mhm.
high. It's good.
Okay.
It's solid. I mean, there's obviously there's nitpicks and stuff like that, and there's things that he couldn't get from the book, or the book don't make sense from the book to put it in today's whatever lexicon or how the world works or whatever today, because it was like it's 30 years old, whatever.
Mhm. Yeah.
But like the ideas are strong. I like the idea that we don't. It's an invasion happening 400 years from now. I like the idea about that because the show has to go into the future, and I want to see what this future looks like, and what this going to be like on the show. You know, are they're building spaceships or some kind of defense thing around Earth? Like, what's that going to look like, and what is it going to look like 400 years from now when the Santi actually show up, or the Trisolaris, or whatever their name, when they
Yeah.
actually show up? What is that going to look like? I'm
Right.
looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Like I'm excited about that. Like all of this stuff is interesting to me. So you know I love space. So like
And,
yeah, this
and
is great.
and they can show up as humans as well, you know, just like because this is what we know, you know. So look at their
Well,
AI, you know.
this is the whole thing about it.
Hmm.
They are tiny. They're about the size of a grain of salt. That's how
Yeah,
big these aliens are.
yeah. So
That's
it's
for real life. The actual aliens are like this big,
wow, dude.
and they've got thousands of ships, and they're heading over
Wow,
here. So like,
that's
that's the
insane.
thing we find out about later.
You
So
know what, man? I am going to give this joint, like, again, like I said, I thought there was some technology flaws, but dude,
mm,
I'm giving it a 10, man. I'm sorry, right? Because, man, it was just so much going on.
mm,
The technology that they did have, the AI that they had, the metaverse or the omniverse that they had, the nanotechnology, the walking and
mm,
talking, the storyline was dope. And you know, just looking at 8 episodes, right? It just
mm.
seemed like they didn't do any goofy stuff in this show. You know, there was no goofy stuff. You didn't
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
you didn't
There's
hear
no
like
throwaway shows.
today's music, right? You know, you didn't hear that, right? You know, you didn't hear like rock
Yeah, yeah,
music and
yeah,
all that sort of stuff, you know, like the goofy stuff
yeah.
that they do with Star Wars and everything. It's just like, man, it was
Mm,
straight to the point. Here are the scientists, here are the geeky people, here's the problem, here are the military
mm,
people. Let's get together, let's link up. So
mm.
season 2, man, I cannot wait for
I'm
season 2.
excited.
I'm
I'm very
excited, dude.
excited.
And I'm watching this again. I may watch this during this week sometime. I'm watching this
Yeah.
again for real because like I said, I'm giving it a 10 because this joint was just, it was on point. This is the way you are supposed to direct, create, release a
Mm.
sci-fi series. And Netflix just hit it on the head with this one, man. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
pretty
because
dope.
I think the way the show is done, it's done for geeky, nerdy people like us that like
Hmm.
sci-fi and technology, whatever.
Yeah,
But it is done in a way that a regular person who doesn't know any of this stuff can still watch the show, and that's smart. Like you have to do it so that everybody can look at this and be like, okay, I understand,
right.
and they're happy with what they're seeing. Because there's a lot of shows that are like they're trying to be techie and they just they're I'm hacking.
Hey,
I'm just typing really quickly on the computer. Like, stop it, man.
you're
You ain't doing
typing in a
nothing. Like,
straight line. What do you mean? What do you mean Jupiter's legacy? What do you mean cosmic sin? Stop it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're just typing a straight line. Like, yeah,
You
let's.
know?
I'm thankful that there is no hacking in this show.
Yeah.
They're like we're not doing this. This is
Yeah.
stupid.
And you know what? If
And
there were hacking, you know, it would look serious because they have serious scientists on here and
yeah,
serious
it
people doing
seems
serious
like
things. Yeah.
to me, I get the impression that there are smart people involved with creating this show.
Yeah.
That's the impression I gathered.
Yeah.
Because like yeah, just the idea of folding space and this supercomputer is in a different dimension,
Hmm.
and like that's all these things sound cool to me. Like I
Yeah.
love it.
And it's the
I'm
Game of Thrones
interested.
people, dude. Come on. It's the Game of
Yeah,
Thrones
yeah.
people, right? I mean, come on.
I
You think they're going to like
I
create something
rate
dumb?
them.
Yeah.
This is the thing. The first 5 seasons of the show, I rate these guys as one of the best people have ever done a TV show.
Hmm.
That's how good of a job they've done, figuring out how to, because like you write it, there's a book, you got to merge people together because you can't have all these characters. They did all of this flawlessly and moved it to a different country
Yeah.
and still get the good premise that you if a, and as a if an Asian person's watching this show, they're not going to feel in oh they took this thing from us. It feels everything feels like it still belongs, and
If
they still
yes.
told a
Yep.
good chunk of the story is still in China,
Yeah.
and there's lots of people from China that's in this show,
Right.
like way more than normal. So like,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like it
It's pretty
felt
good.
like it's inclusive,
This
but
is, listen.
also they
Yes.
mixed it up and added different characters in there, and they did a good job of it. They really did, in my
Yes.
opinion. In my
Yes. They
opinion.
listen, they did a great job, man. It's almost like, remember when we were watching The Sandman on Netflix and they're coming out with another season, right? Sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
That was a sleeper. I was just like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
this is pretty dope right here, you know. Same
Mm-hmm.
with The Expanse, you know, it's just like, wow, this is pretty dope, you know. So, man, yeah, I'm giving this a 10. Keo gave it an 8.5. We are
Mm-hmm.
talking about Three Body Problem. It is available on Netflix. It is a series, 8 episodes. Go check it out. You will not be disappointed. Well, there you have it. Thanks for checking out another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.